Hello and welcome to the dark and new moon in Gemini. I am recording this on the 5th of June at around 11 o'clock a.m. That is Australian Eastern Standard Time. And we are in this dark phase of this lunar cycle. My name is Yvonne Wildheart. I am a mother, soul alchemist, astrologer, podcaster of the Sentient Sky podcast, and also Temple Talk. I am the teacher and space holder for the Temple of Nuit Astrological Study Group and also the Invoking Anana Journey Through the Underworld. I'm here to talk about what is happening in and around this dark new moon in Gemini. But to begin with, I just wanted to highlight that at this point in time, as we sit into this dark phase of this lunar cycle, this is the last dark moon of this whole year cycle, this earthly cycle that started here in the Southern Hemisphere, that started back at winter solstice in June 22nd last year. So we are at the final descent, the darkest of the dark of this whole year cycle, the deep harvest of where we are now stepping into the dreamscape of that space in the middle, that void space where here in the Southern Hemisphere at winter solstice, which will be happening on the 21st of June 2024, that we are exposed to the longest night of the year. It's where we have access to the void, the cosmos, the dreaming, the space of all and nothing. So this feels particularly potent at this dark moon, to sit in the darkness of the moon cycle, the darkness of the earth cycle as well, and to sit with, what has been for the last 12 months, but also what is to come. What seeds are we taking from this harvest of what has started back at summer solstice last year in December? Watching what has shown up, our harvest of all the prayers and wishes that we wished for back at winter solstice last year, and seeing what has happened, whether we liked it or not, and what can we learn from it? What can we take into this darkness, this dark phase, to hold these precious seeds in the void space before they crack open and begin a new cycle, which will start for this new moon, will start on Wednesday. And we're going to talk about this Gemini new moon in a second. But for this whole earthly cycle, which will start on the 21st of June. So this is such a potent time, and I can't stress enough how important it is, especially in this climate of great change, is to bring into the dreaming. I mean, this is the void space, this is the dreaming space. Bring into the dreaming of what we want to see and what kind of world do we want to leave for our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. Is it a place of love and peace and connection and community? That is certainly my prayer. And I'm really hoping that this love wave of the love revolution spreads so fast and so quickly, because what is the antidote to the devastation and the corruption and the loss of humility that we're seeing in the world right now is to sit in love and to beam out peace and contentment, and that it can be so simple, just to, even in your mundane world, like walking around the supermarket and with, just being nice, being kind, and spread kindness. This is the revolution that the world is needing right now, as we say no to old patriarchal ways. This is the new dreaming. What is the new dreaming that we are holding? This is precious darkness here in the Southern Hemisphere now, right now. And so we can start to plant new seeds in the new year to come. So the new year for us in the Southern Hemisphere actually starts at winter solstice. That is the birth of the sun. The whole friggin' earth cycle starts there. And what a program the Gregorian calendar is, right? Like, we are called to make so-called New Year's revolutions, at the harvest in January, the 1st, like that's the harvest. It's too late then. This is the time to do it now. This is the time to make those dreams and wishes and to hold them so preciously, because it all starts with us. We are the love revolution. The revolution will not be televised. We are doing it now in the body, embodied here, with our families, with ourselves, with our loved ones, with our community, with the land that we live on, connect with. It starts here with us. So on behalf of the great grandchildren, what are you choosing to leave for them? What kind of life do you want to see? Because this is the time, at this dark moon, at this dark phase of this earth cycle, this is the time to make those dreams and to hold them and to hold them. And we'll talk about this in a minute when we look at the chart, but Saturn's here in this chart as well, calling us to be disciplined, to be disciplined in what we want to see for the future to come. Okay, let's get on to the chart. So this new moon is happening here. That's not the right chart. Excuse me for a second. All right. Here it is. There we go. My apologies. Okay, so this new moon is happening at on the 6th of June 2024 at 10:37 p.m. in Australian Eastern Standard Time. And it's happening down here in the sign of Gemini. Gemini at 16 degrees and 17 minutes. As you can see here, this is the sun, this is the moon. And in Australia, in the Eastern Standard Time, on the eastern seaboard of Australia, we can see that it is happening. This is the eastern horizon going up. This is where the sunrise, well, actually, it's where the AS is. And the sunset, the western horizon is going that way. So we can see it is happening at night. We won't be able to see it because, well, it's the darkness of the sky. So which makes it feel even more potent for us here in Australia, because it is happening in the cosmic spaces. You can go outside in these wee hours, not wee hours, but it's 10:37 p.m. in the evening, and really open ourselves up to this cosmic weaving of the stars. Like we will actually be able to see the stars working their magic and to make wishes from that place. Okay, I'll just clear this. So Gemini is the sign of the twins. It's duality. It's both and. It's the home sign of Mercury. Mercury is the ruler of this new moon, and you can see here Mercury works. So the moon actually travels past Uranus to Jupiter to Mercury on its way to the sun, on its way to this new moon. So the darkness of the moon that we are sitting in right now at this recording, this Mercury this moon is moving across Uranus, the planet of change, which is a higher octave of Mercury, the messenger. It's collective messenger, from the quantum world. It moves past Jupiter here at 2 degrees. That is making a trine to Pluto, the lord of the underworld, which is Mercury. Mercury is so connected to Pluto, the underworld. Mercury was the messenger to the underworld, would take souls down to the underworld and bring the new souls back to rebirth themselves. And then the moon moves past the home sign of the home planet of Mercury, the messenger, on its way to this moon. So it's a very powerful lead up, very powerful dark moon. And at this dark moon too, actually today as we're speaking, we have the sun cazimi, in the Venus cazimi, which means the sun and Venus are conjunct. So sitting in the rays of the sun. And this is an 8-year cycle as well. So I invite you, if you want to know more about this relationship between Venus and the sun, go and listen to some podcasts. I recommend the Astrology podcast and the Astrology Hub, but also Pam Gregory and Molly McCord are my favorites. To listen to, Venus's journey with the sun in Gemini. As I said, it's an 8-year cycle. So it's a very powerful lead up to this new moon, which, again, the dreaming and the letting go of what no longer serves and to collect the seeds for this new cycle, for this new Earth cycle, is even more potent and powerful at this time. Gemini is mutable air. It's thinking, it's moving, it's finding out things, it's talking, and it wants to know things. It represents that inner child who's just curious about everything and asks a lot of questions. And I can feel the movement and the busyness that Gemini brings. It's such a different energy to what we experienced at the last new moon, which was in Taurus, which was a fixed Earth, of the Earth, the simple pleasures. But here in Gemini, it's like, go, it's movement. And you might have experienced a increase in your activity over the last few weeks, especially as Jupiter, the planet of expansion, moved into Gemini, and, Venus, the sun, and Mercury all followed suit. And just to bring this, what we'd call a stellium, 3 or more planets in one sign. So it's a very heavy Gemini energy, not heavy as in dense, but as in there's a lot of it. It is particularly busy, and I can hear it in my voice as I'm talking, which is always interesting. I find when I read the charts and when I do this, the energy really works through my body. It's very, very cool to experience this embodiment of astrology, which is what I do, and I do love. So yeah, and so Gemini also, it's the ruler of, its fingers and arms, and just that just looking at the the detail of the quick movement that you can move your fingers. Like, I'm just thinking of typing, it's the rule of media, typing news stories, and this energy of, so what's going on, what's happening, energy. And yeah, it's really interesting with this twin element too. I know so many actual human twins that are born in Gemini season, which is so cool to see, my brother and sister included, these twins that come together and they have different lives, but there's a connection there. And you can see, even with the glyph of the 2 lines, the 2 parallel lines, but they join at the bottom and the top. So even if there feels like a duality going on, it's all connected. And I'm just also thinking of the duality of, like, old world, which is, for me, it's like the patriarchal density of violence and competition and things like that, with the duality of what would I consider new world consciousness, which is leading by the heart, which is about connection and compassion and love and speaking, working together in union. But they're both the same. We're all one world, and we're all of this planet. We're all of this galaxy. We're all of, but there's 2 different timelines and experiences happening at this time, but it's all connected. And so trusting the movement through it all, because at some time, at some space and time continuum, it's all going to join up. So yeah, so just this duality experience, but actually it's all connected. And also, one fuel, like, for me, leading and being very conscious of leading a world of of the heart, and to know that when I do see shadow aspects of myself and the world around me, knowing what's within is without and is out within, like, that's a classic sort of, feels that Gemini duality, but it's all in the time space continuum. That I use that. It's like that loyal soldier, that shadow that's going, trying to keep you safe or to try and hold you back. But when, we can use that to reassign those shadow aspects of ourselves to say, oh, I see that part of myself. I see that out in the world. Where is that within me? And then to use that other parallel world or information to springboard to grow even more so, and to use it for good. So it's that transformation and transmutation that is happening too at this Gemini season, and to look at it with curiosity, which is Gemini as well. Okay, so that's a lot, isn't it? So in just after this new moon, we have Venus and the Sun both squaring Saturn. So Saturn is here at 18 degrees, and there's a squaring element that happens here, which is a 90-degree angle. And this is an angle of tension that happens right here. And it's that push that way and push that way, but at some point something's just got to sort of give to release the pressure, and it's not always easy. And Saturn here, this is Saturn is the lord of time. It's Chronos, and in Pisces, it's Pisces is mutable water, and it's like fog. It's unbounded, energy that can keep going and keep going and keep going. But Saturn, Lord of Time, is like, well, what are you going to choose? Yeah, there are two parallel universes, and at some point you're going to have to choose which train track you're going to go on, knowing that it will all lead to one. But Saturn is calling us to choose something, to step up and take responsibility. Saturn is like the elder calling us to, well, if you want to shine your light, and Venus, you want to lead in love, you've got to commit, and you've got to be disciplined in that commitment. And its key word for Saturn is discipline. So this happens on Friday. Actually, the square between Saturn and Venus happens on the following day, on Friday, the 7th. And then the Sun squares Saturn on the Saturday. So right after this new moon, there's tension there to say, well, you've put your prayers out there. Now it's time to put the seeds in the ground, and to be disciplined in nourishing them and looking after them and making sure that you've planted them in the right spot, and to keep your word on it. Saturn calls us to keep our word of what we wish, and to stand up in that and not waver, just sharp and connected, and to remain focused, which can be tricky in Gemini energy, because there's so many, as I said, mutable air. It's moving us here and it's moving it there. But this Saturn here in amongst all this mutability is calling us to go, no, we need to keep focus, and to stick by what we're saying, and to making sure that we're choosing the right ground, the right atmosphere. Look at the people who are around you. Are they holding you in love? Are you holding them in love? And it's okay if people and things are falling away, because this thing about trusting, like the elders trust what they say. They have this wisdom of the whole cycle. And Saturn in Pisces, this is the very last sign, these last sort of moments of Saturn's time in Pisces, which will be happening over the next 12 months. It's really calling on the wisdom of the whole cycle that's happening. I'm just also reflecting on this Earth cycle that we're in here in the Southern Hemisphere. We're coming up to winter solstice. This is the final harvest. This is the final wisdom of a cycle that started 12 months ago. So we are holding so much wisdom here of our experience of the last year. And so this elder is certainly, I'm just thinking of this winter time is the season of the crone. And what do we do to our crones? How do we approach death? How do we, honor the space in between life and death? It's almost shocking when you start to sit with that and to unpack how we treat this phase of the cycle. But as my teacher Jane Hardwick Collins would say, whatever the patriarchal culture has demonized or made taboo holds the power. So this is an extremely powerful time, to hold these dreams and hold these wishes and to hold these ideas and to hold these visions and the feelings of what we want to call in, but to be disciplined about it. And this is what Saturn will be calling us to do straight after this new moon. Wow, there's a lot going on. So if you want to know more, I'm about to have a listen to the Sentient Sky podcast with my dear, beautiful sister, Rebecca Holly, and I. We've just released the June podcast. So that is up on our Sentient Sky YouTube. And if you want to receive that straight into your inbox, sign up to our Patreon. And I'll just clear this. Also, if you want to explore this phase, this harvest, this death, this rebirth phase of your very own, come and join us on the next Invoking Anana journey through the underworld. This is exactly what I speak of, this phase of that letting go. What's the harvest? What do I let go? How do I sit in the void space? And then on, the reclaiming of the ascent of the light coming into a new cycle. So that is what the Invoking Anana journey is. And we're starting a new journey. It's a 5-month journey starting on 17th of June. And that is co-space holder by my dear sister, Ali Riverstar. And you can find that more about that on my website on www.yvonnewildheart.com, or go to Instagram at the Temple of Inanna. And you can also go to my Instagram at Yvonne Wildheart. This is where all this sort of funnels into. And also stay tuned. If you want to journey with me more deeply with astrology, I'm about to release a Patreon of the Temple of Nuit astrological study group. This is an awesome study group where a whole bunch of us join together and we have a circle once a month and going through the transits. We share very dynamic sharing in our chat about our moon prayers, and we link it up to our chart so it makes more personal and stronger prayers. Like, it is wildly magical, and sharing the transits and things like that and how it's affecting us. So it's a very much of embodiment of astrology that's going to be released in the next couple of weeks. It's very exciting. Or you can choose to join me on a one-on-one consultation session through your astrology chart, but also shamanic holistic counseling as well. If you just want to sit and be held in whatever's coming up for you at this time of letting go and debriefing of, what it is that you're wanting to plant in this new year. So my name is Yvonne Wildheart. Thank you so much for joining me at this Gemini dark new moon. May this time be just so love-filled and connected, and may you know your community, may you know your tree community, your plant community, your animal community, your people community. May you know how deeply that you actually are, and that we're all here for a higher divine purpose. And yeah, I'm so glad that we're all here doing this all together at this time. These are the times that we've come here for. Thank you for joining me. It was so much love. Bye.